I would like to kick it off by introducing two players in the classic Tetris community, JDMFX and Nubbins Goody, also known as Joseph and Jonas. And we're going to be doing a point challenge, where both players will have 45 minutes to get the highest score they can. How are both of you two doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Doing pretty good, yeah. Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, no problem. And I am also joined with James Chen on commentary. James, are you here?
Hello, everybody. How's everybody going out there?
All right, we'll get started here pretty quickly. So, do you want to do a quick intro for yourself, Jonas?
Sure. Hi, guys. My name is Jonas Neubauer. I am a 7-time world champion of classic Tetris. The tournament started in 2010. It's going pretty steadily since then. And other than that, I'm a full-time Twitch streamer. And yeah, kind of old to be an esports guy. I'm 39, but have a lot of fun. This is my third GDQ related event, so it's been a lot of fun.
And Joseph, how about you?
Hello, my name is Joseph Saelee. Not there with Jonas yet, but I'm the 2-time Classic Tetris World Champion. This is my first time on GDQ, so thank you guys so much for having me.
No problem. And James, take it away.
Hey, so, I just want to call out Jonas here for saying he's a little old for esports here. I don't want to hear that from you. But, I'm James. I'm a commentator of, different esports out there. I've also done commentary for the Classic Tetris World Championship, where I've had the pleasure of, casting wins for both of these players here. Of course, two of the greatest classic Tetris players of all time. And so it's exciting for me to be here for this. So I know you guys want to watch some awesome Tetris. So let's go ahead and just get started with both of these players right now with the standard traditional countdown with a 3, 2, 1 Tetris. And let's go with both of the players here to start. Oh, there we go. So you can see Joseph on the left side of the screen. I'll try to point out who I'm talking, which screen I'm talking about as best as I can, because obviously a lot of people are going to be watching either side. But of course, these guys aren't going head to head directly right now. They're just trying their best to get some scores right now. So we'll see who gets the favorable pieces for now. I mean, right now, Jonas already starting with a little bit of unfavorable pieces, because you can kind of see that he's had to do a few burn already. But right now, Joseph looks like I just saw a Tetris for him. So, let's give a classic boom Tetris for Joseph. As you can see right now, both players starting at level 18. You'll see a lot of players do this because a lot of times people aren't sure, it's not everybody who's familiar with the game knows why people start at level 18. And it's just because, it just gives you a time to warm up. You also get the most points this way by starting at level 18. Because what happens is, before you get... Oh, nice tuck by Joseph there. He needs to clean off that right side a little bit. He's doing a pretty good job with that. Oh, wow, look at this. And at level 18, to be honest with you, it's still going, quote, slow enough that these guys can manage the pieces pretty well. But
Slow
again...
enough that both of you can talk to us, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But again, starting at level 18 here, basically before they get to level 19, which is what we call the transition, they can get the most points, because every level you go up, you get more points for every Tetris you get. So you want to start with trying to get as many points as possible. So that's the idea here. Oh, interesting little decision right there from Joseph. You can see
while we're on level 18, Jonas, do you want to describe how you got into Tetris?
Yeah, so I bought it when it was released back in 1989, 1990. I had the Nintendo Power magazine that it was featured in, and it looked interesting. I had played it on PC. Actually, NES Tetris was not the first time I played Tetris. My uncle had a Macintosh. This is before they were called iMacs and all that. Had a Macintosh, and I played it, and maybe about 7 or 8 years old, and just instantly got hooked like everybody else. And yeah, that was basically it. And then had some high scores on. This was before YouTube. This was on Trey's like proprietary Tetris Masters website, and got invited to the first CTWC in 2010. It was in LA, so it was kind of serendipitous because I was living in LA at the time, and just fell into it. Just fell right in my lap.
Yeah, if anyone in chat has questions, I'll try to forward some of them to both of the players here as we go through this. You know, the CTWC is a very cool tournament where there's a lot of matches between these players, but you know, we don't get to hear from you all too often. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask and I'll try to forward them. And Joseph, how did you get into Tetris?
Yeah, so I think in the summer of like 2017, there's a video. It kind of went like a little viral, just a little bit. Boom Tetris for Jeff. I don't know if it's still available on YouTube anymore, but yeah, that's it got me hooked. I was like, wow, it's so simple, but it's like so fun in a way. It just kept drawing me back. So eventually, I decided to get an NES off of like Amazon. Bought the Tetris cart, and then I was connected with Classic Tetris, and then I was there at the CTWC.
I mean, did it feel like? I mean, obviously, you were born after the NES was released, I think.
Yeah, more than I don't know how many years, but yeah.
But I mean,
let's give a congratulations for Joseph, who finished high school today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah, thank you so much. I feel mature.
Did the game just feel like natural to you? I mean, obviously, you're from anybody watching, they can clearly see you are super good at this game. And did it just click as soon as you started, or did it take a while?
I think I had a easier time because there's so many like resources available to me. The CTWC, for example, or I was watching Jonas, Corian, and Harry at the time, and I feel like I picked it up a little bit faster than most people would, like without YouTube and whatnot,
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things that I always do like pointing out, I even mentioned this at CTWC when I'm doing commentary over there, is a lot of people are going to be watching this and they're going to be like, you know what, I can do this. I can play just like these guys. Oh, and by the way, they just transitioned. So you can see all of a sudden the speed has increased drastically. But one of the things that I really think is important to point out in terms of classic NES Tetris is the difficulty level of this game compared to what we play in modern Tetris is so drastic. As you can see, you never see the pieces actually touch the ground and actually have the player slide the pieces around or anywhere, which is what we're used to seeing in modern Tetris. There's always this ability to move the pieces after they touch down. And they've done a lot of things mechanically over the course of the years for Tetris to make it so that playing at high speeds is a lot easier. But in NES Tetris, like as soon as the piece touched down, it's stuck. That's it. You're done. And so it takes a lot of different skills to be able to maintain playing at this rate that you see Jonas playing. And what's interesting is that Joseph and Jonas are using two different techniques as well. Jonas takes advantage of a game mechanic called Daz, basically, where he can maintain moving the pieces as fast as possible. Whereas Joseph is just fast. He taps the controller very, very fast, and that is known as hyper tapping. And these techniques allow them to keep playing at this level. So a lot of people out there who do consider themselves Tetris experts, you can watch this and be like, yeah, I can see where they're putting everything. Everything makes sense. But if you try it yourself, trust me, this is far more difficult than it looks. And again, that isn't to say that, modern Tetris is, easy or anything like that. It's its own beast. But for sure, they take different kinds of talent here between the games. And that's one of the nice things about Tetris as a game, is that there are so many different, styles of the game that you can enjoy.
And we're going to be seeing a couple of those tonight, actually. We're going to be having Fast Tetris, shown on Tetrio right after this by Firestorm and QMK, who are two very good Tetris players. And then we're also going to be having Tetris 99 after that. So
Nice.
Everyone get your Switches out. Be ready for that. Because you'll be able to play against Blink and Dormy, who are two very experienced Tetris players out there.
Dormy is one of those people that I watch, and I just don't even know how he does what he does. But I do want to point out that Jonas is already at max out pace here. So maxing out basically means you get 999999 as your score. Once you get to level 29, you're done. Like, most people can't keep going any longer than that. Joseph can, but that's a whole nother story because of the hyper tapping. Oh, okay, just a little bit of a misdrop right there. Oh, get it over there. He did it. Yes, there we go. And there you go. Jonas right there with a max out at level 28. So he didn't quite get to the kill screen. Level 29 is considered the kill screen. Is usually when the speed actually increases. The speed from 19 to 28 is the same. And then at 29, it actually increases again to the point where it's very hard to stay alive at that point.
So the frame breakdown, level 18 it drops every 3 frames. So you have a 3-frame window to maneuver at the very last second to like do a spin or do a quick tap or something. Level 19 is 2 frames per drop, and then level 29 it maxes out at 1 frame. So
yeah,
it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, but look at that. I mean, that was the first game for Jonas there, and already a max out. So you can all clearly see why he is a 7-time Classic Tetris World Champion. Look at this. Okay. I was just about to say Joseph going for some risky play over there, but again, at level 18, it's definitely a lot more manageable speed-wise for these guys. And again,
guys, did you expect to max out on that first one?
I just kind of wanted to put a score up, especially in a high score challenge. It's very easy to get into this rhythm where you just keep restarting if you don't have a good beginning. And so I just want to put up a score to save some face. Just do something. But yeah, what's crazy about the tournament is max out used to be a guaranteed victory, and that's just not the case anymore. This last year, and James will attest, we had our first double max out game, and that was definitely a turning point for the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way that the Classic Tetris World Championship tournament goes is that there's the qualification round where you're not competing directly against somebody, you're just trying to get the highest score, and the highest scores qualify into the next round. The first few years that I was there for Classic Tetris World Championships, you would get maybe 3-4 people maxing out to qualify into the next round. The most recent year that we had the Classic Tetris World Championship, there was like 9, 10, 11 max outs or something like that. It was an absolutely insane number.
And multiple max outs by players as well.
Yes. And it's the bar is just so crazy now. It's been raised so high so that, just trying to put a score up on the board, Jonas here gets a max out. And, that's kind of the level that we come to expect from a lot of these players these days.
Yeah, just to put it into perspective, I took the first tournament with, I want to say, mid 500,000. score.
Wow.
So it's quite a distance.
That I did not know. That's absolutely fascinating and frightening. At the same time.
It just goes to show that the level of optimization in a game even this old, there's still a lot of space to be had in terms of improving.
Yeah, and
But-
it's fantastic because, like these guys here, I mean, well, I should say Jonas, because, Joseph had to buy a console off of Amazon and everything. But, I started playing on NES Tetris, and, I fell in love with the game, and just, I had always thought I was like hot stuff in the game and everything like that. And then, after learning about CTWC and seeing what these guys can do, it's so amazing and mind-blowing to see the level of talent that these guys have. It's such a joy to watch. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why I get so excited, when I'm doing the commentary for this. And shout outs to Chris Tang as well, of course, as the co-commentator and the originator of the Boom Tetris for Jeff.
Yeah, I actually want to give a huge shout out to Joseph and all the young players that really did a shot in the arm for the scene. It's one thing for all of us old veterans to get together and do it, on a smaller scale. But when Joseph beat me in 2018, the whole scene got kicked up to just another tier and opened up a lot of fun opportunities for all the competitors. It's amazing.
Yeah, this last year we saw so many young players joining in, and for those of you out there who know me from the fighting game community, because I do commentary for fighting games a lot of the times, it reminds me a lot of what I saw in the fighting game community, because when Street Fighter 4 came out, that created a giant influx of young players, and I still remember how happy I was to see that. And I can only imagine the entire classic Tetris community feels the same way, seeing the influx of young players show up to classic Tetris World Championships. It just means that there's going to be a whole new generation of competitors going, keeping the game alive and keeping this tradition alive. And I think that's super cool. And Jonas here getting a few unfortunate pieces here, and Joseph, trying to find his groove right now, obviously, as he was just about to graduate, high school. He's had some other important things to take care of right now, hasn't had the chance to keep practicing Tetris as much, and we're all not gonna blame him. Stay in school, kids.
It's still impressive to see. He was doing all his school assignments and still gets 800,000, almost 900,000. I don't think I could do that, so pretty impressive.
We're trying to get there. Trying to get the max to Magic Jonas at least.
Yeah, again, like I said, I have considered myself a strong Tetris player, and I have messed with classic Tetris before, and when I can't even survive level 18. It's so difficult to master this speed and to learn all the different techniques out there.
We have a interesting question in chat. Does classic Tetris have T-spins? And the answer to that is yes, but there are different things that happen in other types of Tetris, such as you getting additional points, which does not occur here.
Yeah, there's only one
I was
kind
trying
of...
to set it up.
Yeah, I saw you that setup there.
It didn't work out well.
They're actually they're very difficult to.
Oh, I missed it though. Oh no.
Oh no! Oh, you had it. Okay. But yeah, the T-spins in classic Tetris, in NES Tetris here are very. There's only like one kind of T-spin that you can do, whereas in modern Tetris there's a lot of this like the pieces can snap into place and they'll rotate and fit into things, and that doesn't happen in this one. So you only get the very basic T-spin in this NES Tetris over here.
another thing about that too is the type of randomization in this one is not what you'll see in current iterations of Tetris. So you don't know when you're going to get a T-piece here.
Right. And you, as you can see, you only get one next. You don't realize until you've played a lot of modern Tetris how spoiled we are to have like 3 next pieces coming up. But that helps so much. But to what you were saying, though, is that modern Tetris uses the 7-bag randomization scheme, which essentially means that there are 7 different Tetraminos possible, 7 different Tetris pieces. And what the games do nowadays is they take those 7 pieces, randomize just the 7 pieces, and basically that means you'll get them 7 at a time. So they take those 7 pieces, randomize them. After you get all those 7 pieces, they take those 7 pieces and randomize them in that order again, and so on and so forth. And that's why it's called 7-bag. So no matter what, the longest drought you can get between like line pieces, for example, will be 13 pieces. If it's the first piece in one bag and the last piece in the next bag, that's the widest drought that you can get. Because NES Tetris is pure randomization, I mean, when you watch the Classic Tetris World Championships, shout outs to Trey Harrison, by the way, a man that I refer to as a genius in multiple situations. He's managed to program it so that we can actually see the drought during the tournament. And sometimes they jump up to 30, 40. We've seen ridiculous droughts before of line pieces. And so when you play this version, a lot of the times you have to judge whether you want to save, you know, the Tetris column on the side or just start burning pieces. You have to kind of make these snap decisions if you're getting droughts or not.
And while we talk about things like that, Jonas, how do you feel about getting a second max out?
I feel good. It was in the scope of what we're doing. It really didn't help because I didn't better my original score. But yeah, I'll take it. And this is.
How do you feel emotionally?
There's a T-spin, so I feel better about the T-spin. Finally showing one, no, I feel good. This is, like I said, this is the 3rd one. It can be intimidating to play for the kind of audience that a GDQ stream holds. So it's nice.
This is just a stream full of Tetris fans.
Exactly.
And it's so fascinating too, because like this is actually one of the weird parts about even commentating Tetris, you know, for Classic Tetris. You know, I'm sitting here and I've been watching Joseph's screen so much that I didn't even notice that Jonas got the second max out, and because it's so easy to get mesmerized just by watching, you know, one player play Tetris, and
it's very, very hypnotic.
Yes.
There's also a stress factor with watching, at least for me. I could just be watching a game that someone else is playing, and my brain thinks I'm the one playing, and so it'll live and die with every drop. And there's not a lot of games that do that kind of have that kind of mechanic to it.
Oh God. Yeah, that was in reaction to, you see, just like that, right? I mean, I saw that, you know, Joseph had the opportunity for Tetris, but he decided to burn, and then the line piece came, and yeah, my heart broke while watching that, just like you were saying. You kind of live and die with them, you know?
The game knows what you need. It's almost sinister. It's almost like a dark entity in the NES. It really singles you out.
See, it makes me so happy to hear you say that, because I used to yell at my NES all the time when I was younger and make that kind of comment, and, you know, hearing 7-time world champion say that.
It's validation.
Yeah, exactly. It validates me completely. But again, you know, one of the things that I mentioned, you know, I saw someone in the chat ask, you know, what is the kill screen? Is like you mentioned at level 29, it's all of a sudden now, you know, 1 frame per in between each drop. And so, you know, it's just too fast to survive. But for hyper tappers like Joseph, I will say that he has gotten, what is it, level 35, I think is the max that you've gotten now, Joseph? What's
I've gotten to level 34. I've gotten to level 34 in a real game.
Okay, 34. There you go. Which, you know, previous to maybe even 2 years ago, was thought maybe to be impossible. You know, to
For sure.
to 34, right?
Yeah, kill screen. We need another word for it because this new crop of players and Corian as well are just pushing the limits, and so it's mind blowing that you could be at a tournament max out and then just have to watch your opponent just burn into the 30s. It's a whole nother thing to worry about.
Yeah. I mean, that's what made the Joseph versus Green Tea match at the Classic Tetris World. Okay, so here we go. And see, like, what you're seeing Joseph do right now is oh God, like from a standpoint of watching and going, wow, where is he putting those pieces? It's not even just where he's putting those pieces, it's the fact that he can put the pieces there. Like, this is just not supposed to be humanly possible to do what he's doing right now, you know? It's ridiculous. And there you go, a max out for Joseph, just like that.
Good game, man.
Thank you. There we go.
And again, you know, so the people who aren't familiar with Tetris will watch that and just be like, it's too fast. I can't even process where to put the pieces. Like, you're not even aware of half of the, you know, difficulty of accomplishing that. It's just literally Joseph is tapping the D-pad faster than, you know, most humans can accomplish, just to even be able to move the pieces that far before it snaps into the bottom. Because like I said, in modern Tetris, you can let it drop and then slide it on over casually and be like, let me think about this, and have all these like little delay tactics and stuff, and none of that works. None of that works here. And actually, that's a good question, though. How much modern Tetris do you play, Joseph? Like, have you played a lot of Tetris 99 or you know, like Tetris Effect or anything like that?
See, I played Tetris 99 one time. I was at my friend's house. He has a Wii U, and I was like, hey, let me play it. A lot of people are playing this nowadays. I played it. I mean, I did pretty well. I think I placed like top 10 or something like that. But I didn't want to buy a Wii U because I'm like super cheapskate. Yeah, I don't know. It was just me. But I'm like that. I don't like to spend money. I'm like super saved right now.
That's smart.
Smart. I'm trying to be smart. But yeah, I've played Tetris 99 once, and Tetris Effect, I don't think I've played it.
Okay, so you're not actually as familiar with like the modern standard Tetris rules, in other words, like rotation rules and stuff, right? I see it and I can understand it, but I don't. It's hard for me to apply them when I'm playing, or when I try to play at least. Right. Because again, you know, for those people who aren't aware, Tetris is owned by the Tetris company, and they get to determine all of the rules for Tetris. So in actuality, in modern day Tetris games, every Tetris game has to follow the same standard set of rotation rules and, you know, colors. For example, the pieces all have to be the same color in every game, and except for Tetris Effect, which was really surprising to me that they gave them permission to actually see right there on Jonas's screen. It almost looked like he could have set up for a crazy T-spin, but that T-spin doesn't work on Tetris.
That is true. And I actually play a lot, not a lot, but relatively more modern Tetris than Joseph, I would say. Yeah. And those builds infect what you do as a classic player. So I start building more T-spin doubles, and that's one of the worst things you could do in classic, because you're not guaranteed a T, and that's like the only thing that solves that problem. And so it's just really bad.
Yeah, one of the things about Tetris that, once you get very strong in Tetris, what Jonas said there was super important, where he said there was only one piece that solves that situation. When you play Tetris, that's kind of what you're doing probability-wise. You're trying to set up a play field so that more than one piece can, quote, solve and, make a nice play field for yourself. If you only keep setting things up so that only one piece in particular can solve a particular predicament that you're in, you're kind of hurting yourself in that way.
Dang. I got a little drowning at the end there.
But you're still good. You're still good.
So, GG.
Oh, no, never mind. Okay.
I don't think that would have been a max if I hit that.
Someone in the chat, Jonas, asks, what is your record for max number of lines achieved?
I've gotten, so if you start on level 18, the way that the levels scale, you reach kill screen faster lines-wise than if you started on 9. And so if you start on level 9 and hit level 30, it's 300 lines. My max is 240. So it's level 30 on an 18 start.
Gotcha.
And the way I had to build to do that was a huge center well and hope and pray for the right RNG to fill the bowl.
Yeah, RNG is a fickle mistress in Nest Tetris here.
Yeah, I will say for these runs, my RNG is pretty good. And for the CTWC, we have a special modified Game Genie code that goes into the games to make sure that players have the same piece set.
Right.
And so that's not what's happening here. We're kind of at the mercy of the. It's one of those things where you're just not going to get a lot of points if the game doesn't give you lines.
Yeah, that was a beautiful tuck there by Joseph, by the way, with that piece. And, one of the things that, I didn't get to commentate your match that, obviously you got eliminated from the last year.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that, everybody gets the same pieces, depending on how you build, the pieces can definitely benefit you well or not. And, not trying to, sound like I'm trying to, butter you up or anything. But, honestly, when I watched your match, I really felt like towards the end, the pieces that you were getting were just not in your favor at all.
I mean, if you play a tournament for 11 years or 10 years or whatever, you're going to have a bad tournament at some point. Yeah. Tetris.
See here right now, so Joseph has to figure out a way to clean that. Yeah, but again, see what's happened with Joseph here is that he's kind of set himself up in an interesting situation. The stack is really high for him, but like I said, most players would not be able to survive at this point, and Joseph can, because he's just so dang fast at the... well, there's a little bit of a problem. But even then, for a lot of players, you'd be like, well, that'll probably be it. But not for Joseph.
I have a question, because there's different building. If you're going for a high score, this is very different than if he and I were going for a best of 5. So I was going to ask Joseph, is your building drastically different, or do you pretty much kind of charge forward as usual on something like this?
Yeah, I feel like when I'm going for high score, I play a little bit flatter than usual. When I'm playing in tournaments, I try to focus on my left side a lot. So if I ever get into a big situation, I have a way out,
Right.
I feel like that's why I'm getting into a few digs right now. It's because my left side is not up.
Got it.
Yeah, and again, for those who have just tuned in and weren't here a little bit earlier, just to reiterate again, classic Tetris on the NES is very brutal. It is it's not a kind game, because a lot of the rules, as I mentioned with modern Tetris, you know, they allow. Jeez,
I was hoping for a long bar there. It's all good.
But another max out for Joseph. You know.
Thank you.
Again, you know, a lot of the things that we know about modern Tetris, like, you know, a lot of people aren't aware. Like, most strong Tetris players can play Tetris DS arcade mode and go forever. You will never top out. You will never lose. You will never die. And if you didn't have to, if there was no pause and you didn't have to eat or whatever, you know, or sleep, most of us could go forever. But like, that is just not a thing in a lot of the, in classic Tetris here.
Yeah, and taking stock of the situation here, we've seen 4 max outs, and we're 2/3 of the way in to the point challenge. That's just impressive stuff right there.
Yeah. Again, the bar is raised so much. I mean, Jonas just said that the first CTWC he won with like 500,000 points.
Yeah, that's like, it's like when the NFL played with leather helmets. That's how I feel about those first years.
Oh man, it's crazy, because now, I mean, I gotta even imagine for you, Jonas, like, you know, if you went back to that first year that you won CTWC and, you know, told yourself that you would be casually getting max out back-to-back max outs, you know, in a score challenge like this, you would even probably have surprised yourself, you know.
That would be the most exhausting news I've ever heard in my life. I'd be very tired from it. Probably have to take a nap immediately.
Oh man.
It looks like we have a question, by the way, from Heather. Question for both players. What advice do you give to new players who want to start out playing Nestris?
I would try it on, because the authentic setup, and Joseph will attest to this, is very difficult to source. And so I get a lot of people that have never played it, and they get the CRT and they get the, you know, the Nestris and the OEM controller, and then hate it. And it's just such a bummer to do that. I would find it on kind of an emulator, try it out, see if it's for you, and then you know, if you have momentum with it, you know, just stick with it and get all the equipment. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, as far as like learning how to play this game, the way I started, I watched a lot of Jonas, and this is where I get most of my. I don't know if he agrees with my stacking at all, but I try to learn a lot of my stacking from Jonas, from Corian and Harry. You just gotta watch all the greats, and maybe you can pick up something from them.
Yeah. What I was gonna say was just like, one of the reasons why I always try to reiterate how different this version of Tetris is than what we play modern is because, you know, like Jonas was saying, you just want to make sure that people are aware that, you know, it's a very different game, because Tetris fans are going to be like, oh, I can do this, and then it turns out to be a very different kind of thing. Not only that, but, you know, I also talk about it a lot because, you know, I just want to make sure people are aware just how ridiculously talented these guys are. You know, I mean, the stuff that they're pulling off in this game is I use a lot of words like otherworldly and, you know, just like dumbfounding and stuff like that, because it really is. That's the best way to describe it.
You know, going back to Joseph's point of emulating other players, watching other players, even in the CTWC, we saw some stacks that people were putting pieces in the same places as their opponents, which is really impressive to see.
Yeah, that is true.
But I mean, what the cool thing about seeing people kind of have the same stack, though, is that it shows that there is this logic and this kind of strategy to the game that, you know, kind of transcends different people. They you know, like I said, the goal of Tetris is to make it so that you have the best probability of cleaning out an awkward build as much as possible. I mean, the goal is to not have an awkward build, but you'll never get that thanks to RNG. But, you know, to have as clean of a build as possible. And in order to do that, you know, there's a certain strategy, there's a certain logic that you go with it. And, you know, a lot of the times, a lot of players will have that same logic, and you'll see them with the same build, and it's so cool to see.
And just a heads up to both of you, there's around 8 or so minutes left.
Got it.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that I remember the very first year that I did the Classic Tetris World Championships was that I noticed how often Jonas in particular would what I would call like a, I forgot what I call it, but he would always do a micro adjustment, right? Like based off of the next piece that came up. Like sometimes you won't know what the next piece is coming up, and so you plan to place a piece in one particular location. Then all of a sudden you see that next piece and you're like, oh, and then you do one quick little like column shift micro adjustment to make the field better thanks to that upcoming piece. And, you know, I saw Jonas do that so often. You know, it was just one of those things that I had to, you know, keep pointing out because it was just so impressive how fast he was at doing that. And I see here right now that Jonas is on max out pace. I mean, he's going to be max out even before level 28 if he can get one more Tetris. I mean, oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, no, actually, he was one line too short, but got another long bar. So there you go. And look at this, a max out at level 27 for Jonas here. Another thing that I'm sure if he told, you know, Jonas of 10 years ago that he would be maxing out at level 27, he would have been amazed by. But I mean, Joseph as well, he's on pace right now to max out at what, level 26 probably? If he can get the long bar right there, yep. Look at this. Yeah, he could definitely max out at level 26. Gosh. Now,
Jonas with that one next piece taunting him.
Oh wow, he's going for a center well Tetris. Oh, he can still get it. He can still get the center well. Okay, yeah. That was too risky at that point. So, but he could still. Dude, this is a drought. This is what I mean. So the drought.
That's literally it.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous drought that he had to deal with. That Joseph just had to deal with, but you saw that he managed it, and it's all about, you know, hedging bets and trying to play a little bit safer. But, you know, when you guys play in a scoring attack like this, it's got to be just so much less stressful than when you're playing in the tournament.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is probably like, you're just, your guys' hearts aren't even probably even racing that badly at this point.
These are stressful times, and so let's keep it, you know, as easy as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking about easy, this thing on the left you're seeing, not easy.
Oh, missed the tap. That's okay.
Yeah. How many people can be at level 30 something and say, I missed a tap. That's okay. Like that in and of itself is impressive. So like right there, you see on Jonas's side over there, you know, he had to have an L piece. That was the only piece that could have fit into that little slot that he had generated there. So in other words, only one piece could solve that situation, and that's, you know, that's what you don't want to have.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to minimize as much as possible.
with high scoring attempts, it's almost like a staring contest with RNG, and a lot of times to keep from burning, you'll have to put yourself into a precarious spot, and that's when like something like this, these are not tournament builds. Like James said, that L was the only thing that could go there.
And it's crazy because like the RNG, like I said, is so brutal, and to see how well these guys have learned to manage, and also just, you know, through experience, they've seen a lot of these situations, a lot of these setups, and one of the beautiful things about Tetris is when you get to this level, it's basically like a Zen kind of experience here. You know, as much as like a lot of people watching this can be like, oh my gosh, my brain hurts, I can't even process this. A lot of this is very instinctual at this point for these two players. You know, they see the pieces, they see what their field is, and they just kind of have a good sense of where to drop things, you know, automatically. Just like that little really, you know, cool burn right there from Jonas. You know, with I think it was the J piece, how he did the split double. It's just, you know, he's been in that situation so often that it's not something that he has to be like, oh, let me think about this, and it just comes so natural at this point.
There's a ton of parallel with chess with Tetris, so it's a lot of pattern recognition. It's a lot of like stuff like that. Oops.
And just a heads up, we're nearing the 1.5 minute marker here. So
okay,
I think this attempt from Joseph is going to be the last one here. And then...
Oh shit! This will be my last one right here. My top out.
That'll be good.
But yeah, the pressure is on Joseph here. Is just a little bit away.
Oh, you want me to? Okay, this will be my last game. I'm sorry. I thought.
Yeah, we'll let you finish out your current round.
All right, let me do this. Let's see if I can.
Serious time.
Up there. Yeah, serious time.
Just a heads up for everyone that is joined throughout the course of the show. Just a quick reminder of what you're watching here. This is Game Masters. There's a lot of speedrunning content out there, and there is also a lot of other games that are not necessarily speedrun out there. And we want to try to showcase expertise in other types of games as well. So we're going to be having Nestris here, as you can see, NES Tetris. We're going to be following this up with some Tetrio, and then Tetris 99 after that.
Tetris 99 is free on the Nintendo Switch, and such a best battle royale game out there.
Absolutely.
No bias.
It was surprisingly good. It actually got released while I was streaming, and people wanted me to play it as a joke, and then it was one of my favorite streams ever. It was just an amazing... I think it took a lot of people by surprise how fun it was going to be. Yeah, great game.
It was crazy. It came out when I was in Japan for an EVO Japan. And I'll tell you this, Japan hotel Wi-Fi was so good that I was able to stream directly from my phone and use the Wi-Fi to play at the same time. You know, it was pretty impressive. But yeah, what a great year for Tetris last year. You know, between 99, Tetris Effect, and, you know, CTWC just having some of the greatest matches, and Alexei Pageant. You see right there, that was a micro adjustment right there by Jonas, one of the things that I love about watching him play. But, you know, Alexei Pageantnov also making it to the CTWC as well. I mean, that will be one of my greatest memories, was being able to meet him at CTWC, because that was, oh man, that was a dream come true for me.
I'm just gonna play on 19 while we finish up here. Just since
so we can see Joseph still having an opportunity to overtake Jonas here in this point challenge. Jonas finishing his last run right there. Did not beat his score of B27 860. But you
No
can see how
pressure.
close Joseph was in one of his previous runs with 23,445. It's just very impressive to see both of these players play so close to each other.
Yeah, that's the like scary thing about being able to play on kill screen, because I don't think I even hit the B score before kill screen, and I had to make up those points on the kill screen. So there's a lot of more potential, but you know, just a little taste of what kill screen play can do.
And while we're rounding out here, do you have any shout-outs you want to say, Jonas?
Yeah, just shout out to James Chen for joining us. It was pretty late notice when we reached out to him, and he was down. I love the kind of hype that he brought to the tournament in general. Huge shout out to my competitor Joseph, just taking the whole scene to another level. My lovely wife Heather for asking a question in chat earlier, and she's actually the current Dr. Mario World Champion. So we got a little, championship pedigree in the house for sure.
Man.
Yeah, just and thank you again for having us. My goodness, like so much fun.
Go follow Jonas, twitch.tv/Nubbin'sGoody.
Yeah, cheers for it. Thank you.
All right, there we
And
are.
Joseph too, he doesn't have a Switch right now. Go check him out.
Or Switch, yeah, no, I said Wii U earlier.
Yes, you did say Wii
sorry
U.
about that.
Chat went out on you on that one.
A lot of people think I'm like an actual gamer, but no. Like,
Are you saying Tetris is not an actual game?
When you're playing Tetris and trying to talk at the same time, look, I was always amazed that during the Classic Tetris World Championship, you would actually like yell back at commentators how you were playing.
Yeah, Joseph and Green Tea, the younger players, are known for screen looking and playing their own game at the same time. So they're basically playing two games. They're cheering on their people. Yeah, it's just blows minds.
And
Of course.
here we see Joseph has finished, unfortunately not beating Jonas's score. So congratulations, Jonas,
Thanks.
on
Yeah.
the victory.
No, GG's, Joseph.
Yeah, that was amazing. I had a great time.
This is the first time we played since 2018. So this is literally, a couple of years in the
Literally.
making. Yeah.
Nice.